So I'm going to come up on the Ozenga plant here in Chicago. This is one of two that I was talking about. And this is concrete. And they have these big projects right around them that can propel these firms to new heights if these projects start happening. And then they can relocate these plants right here to areas that are more impoverished, where they can get another real estate play, get cheap real estate, and it brings property taxes and jobs to that community and helps build that community. And so here's the Ozenga plant. And so they have this whole area down here, and this is on the Elston corridor, and this is all part of that whole build out of Lincoln Yards and the Chicago River, really. So this is, a massive project. And so this is the corridor. So right here, and you have the Chicago roof deck. But you can see this industrial corridor, and like I said, tax incentive financing and being able to move this and relocate this and move it into an area that needs these types of operations and build out those areas, and it builds the property taxes in those areas. So the property taxes will go up in those areas, and they will go up here as it's built out. The property taxes will become even more in this area. So it's a double win for the city, the county, the state. And like homeowners can write off up to $10,000 a year in property taxes against their federal income. It caps out at $10,000, but most people are under $1,800 a year. So that means there's $8,000 or $8,200 per property that the city can capture in additional property tax for homeowners. And that means their properties would have appreciated significantly. So it's a win all the way around. And so on the drive down to the other plant, but this is the Elston corridor. This parallels the Chicago River. This is all the Chicago River. So this parallels, I'll weave out over this way and get off Elston directly and go up North Avenue. And who can be part of all this build out is Home Depot. Home Depot over here, and they can get into the institutional. They work with builders. And why not work with large builders as well? Why only be with the small builders? Why not work with the medium and large builders like McHugh Construction? Why wouldn't Home Depot want to work with McHugh Construction or Walsh Construction, the larger builders as well? And that would be their institutional side, their institutional sales side of Home Depot. So here's the Chicago River, and we have Mars Wrigley, the candy company. And so I don't know, it would be great if they bought Garrett, popcorn or Popcorn Palace or both of them, and integrated popcorn into their different forms of candy, into ice creams. Truly, I don't know if they have an ice cream company. I know they have the Snicker ice cream or the Milky Way ice cream. I think they have Snicker and Milky Way ice cream bars, and they're awesome. I do love them. They are awesome. And so I just don't know if they have an ice cream company like Haagen-Dazs. But getting into the popcorn market, since they're here in Illinois, and then they have to figure out how they get into the soy market, but they can do a soy-based ice cream. Truly, you can make a soy-based ice cream. Soy protein. And it would be a soy-based ice cream, soy-based protein ice cream. And you just have to make it taste right, but it could be exported to Asia. So, again, I don't know where they're going, but they have a huge candy market and 4 billion people in Asia. that they can tap in. And we have relations with Asia in Chicago. So it's a big market. And I guess Illinois is Mexico's largest trading partner. So we have good basis in Latin America. So, and I'm going by Whole Foods and Rick's Cabaret. And there's another nightclub, which I don't have any idea what the name of the nightclub. It used to be the Crow's Bar, and my friend Kenny and Cal used to own it. And then I used to know the owner of this place. I used to hang out there, but I haven't been in there in 20-something years. Nothing wrong with going into the adult entertainment bar. So, again, I'm heading down to the other Ozenga plant. And this is off. This is not a busy street. And you have REI, and then you have a pet store up here and some other. This is kind of off the main traffic area, but there's a lot of residential around here. So these stores, I would assume, like the Sky Zone, and then there's Fly Chicago up ahead, that they get a lot of business from the local residents, because you're not on North Avenue, you're not on Halsted, you're off of it, and there's no signages on Halsted saying over here there's REI. There's no signage on North Avenue saying REI's over there. So people have to know about it to get there, and there's nothing that advertises that any of these stores exist. And most all the traffic goes up and down Halsted, up and down Division, up and down North Avenue, and they don't even know this street exists unless you're going here already know about it. So they have a problem. No one knows about them, and they don't market it. So I'm back on Halsted, and this is going to take us down to Chicago. But this is all along the river. This is the river right here on the other side, and you think the gas station, Mobil, it's right on the river. Why aren't they having fillings for boats? Boats need gasoline, and they can fill them up. That Mobil station can have, since they're on the river, and this station, Exxon, they're on the river, they could have where boats can come in and fill up. Even barges need diesel and everything, and this could be stopped, and they can do marina. Like this place was a marina place. I don't know what it's going to be anymore, because it looks like it's disappearing. But this is the bridge, and so going across here, and the river's right here. And so up here is the other Ozenga, and there's waste management that's not too far from Ozenga. And as these places go in, they're going to need more waste management. So the casino is going to need more waste removal. So waste management grows. But here's the other plant right here. See, both of them are on the west side of the river. And the projects right now mainly are on the east side. That means no one's planning to develop the east branch of the river. Oh, I'm sorry. All the projects are on the east branch. No one's planning to develop the west branch. So that whole side, that west side of the whole river is nothing. All the projects are on the east side of the river. So there's great opportunity. The land is much cheaper on the west side of the river. See, the land on the east side is more expensive, but the land on the west side of the river, much cheaper. So it's a great opportunity to get in on a land deal on the west side of the river. The land is truly cheaper on the west side of the river. Just on the other bank, the land drops in value. So here's the plant, and this is the other Ozenga plant, and here's the new casino coming in. So if we go straight, that's where Google is, and then if we go downtown where I showed you last night, that's where Google is building the new offices. So they have two locations, one in the Fulton Market and then one in the theater district in Chicago. The theater and administrative district in Chicago, because it's right next to City Hall and that. And so it would be nice if they moved the administrative district, because the city's sitting on a fortune in real estate that would be better used by private, bringing the taxpayers tons of money and mitigating the need to constantly increase taxes in the city of Chicago, because now they're leasing out the land. They move to an undeveloped land. It's cheaper, and they bring up that undeveloped land by using the Chicago Bears Stadium. The other undeveloped land is where the Chicago White Sox were going. And again, they can split the diplomatic, offices and governmental offices between the two and integrate it and build out both the Sox and Chicago Bears Stadium. So, and we have Echo, and I think of Google Echo. So is this Echo? Is this the Google Echo? Because it's like Alexa. And is this another Google office here too? Do they have their Echo offices here? Is that what this is, Google Echo? I don't know. But here's the river. And that's the project. And then, like I told you, right down the street from all of this is another area that isn't worth anything right now. If you go to this side, now this is the south side of Chicago Avenue. The south side all developed. And then you go down here where the police car is blinking. This is the former projects where they shot Candyman. Undeveloped. But compare the real estate on the south side of Chicago Avenue by Cambridge and Kingsbury. Kingsbury is south. Cambridge is north and Chicago. Cambridge and Chicago area on the north side do the real estate value. And then go over just on the other side, just south of it, and do the real estate value on Chicago Avenue and Kingsbury. And you will see how much higher the real estate is on the south side of the street compared to the north side of the street. North side of the street, it doesn't have anything. It's ghetto. So here, I'm going to turn down the north side. And so you have all this down here, truly, that's vacant lots and ghetto. Now, if you go further further north, you get the Park Church and that, and then it starts changing. But up here, you just got a bunch of vacant lots. And Moody wants to come in this way, and I don't know what's going on, but look at this. And this is where they shot Candyman. And then you see the other big vacant lot. There is so much vacant land here. It's incredible. And I used to go to Park Church over here. And this is on Locust and Hudson. So I'm on Hudson. This is the Hudson Yard Project of Chicago. Hudson Yard Project in New York, but this is the Hudson Yard Project in Chicago. And then here you go, is another huge lot right here. All vacant. And so you can see there's incredible opportunity here on the north side of Chicago Avenue. This is where Cabrini Green used to be. So this was part of Cabrini Green, a segment of Cabrini Green, which was on Division, two big housing, high-rise housing, and then this was the low-rise. So, and this was heavily blacks. So this whole area, here's another vacant lot. And so the majority of the people that lived here were black. And now you say gentrification, but black people can improve their image and get education and move up. And so people would want to be around them. And so, I don't know. It's up to them. Truly, it's up to them to determine what they're going to be. So, but there's all this. And then if you go over here, so this area over here, this is on the other side of Division, but if you go down this way, you can see that now over on this side, from that side, we're talking on the west side of the street, we're on Cosbury and Larrabee and Cosby. So if you do the real estate value over there on the west side and then compare it to the real estate value over there on Cambridge or Hudson and you'll see the property isn't worth crap. I mean, it is a night and day. And so if you're talking about a real estate play, you can buy right here is very expensive real estate. And then on the south side of the street of Chicago, by the Chase on the other side, and I'll take you over, but extremely high-end real estate. And you do have a courthouse that's down there that's buried in all this high-end housing is a courthouse. They can relocate that courthouse and develop that land, and that can bring money into the judicial district by relocating the courthouse and develop out the courthouse. Again, repositioning these assets, and the city develops, truly leases to a developer, they develop the land, and the city gets property tax and leasing fees. Both property tax, because even when they lease it out, they still collect property tax as a city. And then they get the leasing fee. So they win twice. They get a leasing fee and they get the property tax. They get two things. And so if they do it right and lease the land and remove that courthouse, and they get the leasing money and they get the property tax money. Wow. They just increased, and they took an outflow where they're getting no property tax and no leasing fee into an area where they're getting a leasing fee and property tax. Isn't that a no-brainer? And here's the south side of Chicago Avenue. This is the Kingsbury side. So here's Superior and that. And so it's totally different. And we got a school right here. And I forget where the courthouse is. Or maybe it's already moved. I was here for a ticket a long time ago. It's a parking ticket, I think. Truly, I think it was a parking ticket. So I forget what it does, but they might have moved the building. But this is the south side. And this is where my friend Jimmy lived, Kang. He lived up here, and he loved this area. He moved into it. And it's right off the nightclubs and everything else, and there's a sushi restaurant. And this is all along the river, too. I'll show you right up here. I'm going to go right here. This little park here. This goes right into the river. So this is all along the river corridor. So the river is right on the other side of those barricades. So a nice little park right here along the river. And then right on the other side of these barricades, and they have some of the river walk here. So, and they have a little dog park and a little park. Oh, no, it's tiles. It's artwork, mosaics. Mosaics are made with tiles. So there's mosaics. And right on the other side is the river. And you can see right down this pathway is the river. So at the end over there is the river. So this is all along the river. So you can see some of it's built out and most of it's not. And so, but I'm showing you the other side from where the projects are, where that land is worth nothing. And so you can get a feel for what the land would be, and these people would get a equity boost. the properties would appreciate. Actually, taking that down, these properties would appreciate immensely. So the tenants here would be for the development or redevelopment of that area. They would all get a property boost. So again, I mean, they win. And how does the city can lower the percentage of property tax? Truly. So where they're at right now in the percentage, they can drop the percentage by 5% or something. So yeah, property tax goes up, but they can drop a percentage to give a rebate of 5%. And so they're going to get more, but they can give some back. And that way, the tenants don't resist the upside movement because they don't get too big of a property tax increase at once. And so, but the city overall gets more property tax because unproductive land turns productive. And they get the leasing money and they get the property tax money. And the city gets a ton more money. So, again, they need to mix it up with leasing deals and property tax. So when they do things right with their lease deals, they generate extra property tax as well. So they get leasing fees and property tax fees. And that makes the city very profitable. They redevelop their land and reposition it correctly. So that undeveloped land that's sitting over there, when they put the stadium in that, they're going to generate a lot of property tax. Truly. And the new stadium's going to bring them more in property tax. So they'll win with the two new stadiums. And what will happen? Chicago businesses will be able to recruit more. Because with two brand new stadiums, new casino and that, for people that live here, life will get incredibly better. Incredibly better. All kinds of new stuff and new restaurants to go to. And that's an incredible recruiting tool for people to move here. And I'm not even talking about tourism. I'm talking about people moving here. And I'm talking about business. People coming here for business. Business tourism, medical tourism. You know, there's lots of educational tourism. So those are things that can be vetted out by the schools and institutions, the businesses, and so on. And that's what trade shows are, business tourism. All the McCormick Center is business tourism. That isn't leisure tourism. That's business tourism. Like our practice management conference, PAC, that was down here in Chicago from John Hancock. That was all business tourism. Everybody was down here for the practice management conference, and that was business tourism that was brought to Chicago. So again, McCormick Place and the Rosemont and that is all about business tourism. Those convention centers all work off of business tourism. So again, expanding out the business tourism. Just like they said in Yellowstone, where she goes to a hotel and she asked her boyfriend, what kind of people do you think these are? And he goes, I don't know, tourists? And she goes, no, I don't see any tourists here. And then she asked the guy next to her, what are you doing here? And she's like, well, this is the cattle capital of the United States. And there's blank cattle, and I'm a cattleman, and I'm down here to do cattle business. And so she says, not a tourist. But what she meant was not a vacation tourist. Everybody there was a business tourist. They're down there staying at the hotel to do business tourism. And that's what the convention centers are all about, business tourism, not vacation tourism. So building out the convention centers brings an incredible amount of business tourism. People down here for business, and that means they got going through their employers and then going through the association that's bringing it in, and then McCormick Place can run their background checks and so on. And so everybody can be extremely vetted, and they can bring all these conventions in. And here's the river again. Chicago has the most, I think, the most bridges, was it? The most movable bridges or something. But Chicago, as you see down here, this is beautiful down the river. You got the Westin Hotel. You got Whirlpool. No one talks about Whirlpool. There's the Whirlpool building. All that washers and dryers and appliances that Whirlpool does. And then you got the Royal Sonnet Hotel. And I'm not familiar with them. But again, Wacker Drive goes along the river. And what does Wacker Drive run into? Well, Wacker Drive runs into the financial district. It's behind me, but I'll go U-E up here, U-turn up here. And now, if you go that, it goes towards Michigan Avenue and all the hotels. So up this way, or east on Wacker Drive, is kind of like Hotel Drive. If you go west on Wacker Drive, you run into the financial district. And Wacker Drive has an upper and lower, so there's a street right below me. Wacker Drive has 2 levels, upper and lower. And then you have the RTA, which runs its train through the loop, the business district. So they get people to and from businesses. And this is where this building right here, 2225 West Wacker Drive, is McGuire Woods, or was here, now Cushman Wakefield and Prime America and others. But again, yeah, so I'm not going to that. World-class amenities. Here's Naveen Capital. Oh, I forgot about Naveen. There's another mutual fund, and they focus on the bond side. They're very big on bonds, Naveen. And I like Naveen. So, again, Ario, Calamos, Naveen. There's lots of funds right here in Chicago, the good funk. And so they can get into the institutional side. And then you have all these. This is the financial district. And what's in the financial district? The most world famous building in the financial district, the Sears Tower. Sears Tower, the tallest building in the world, and was for a decade plus. The Sears Tower is in the financial district. And it has a great observation deck. And you have Merrill Lynch and Lincoln and Lincoln Financial. And this is all the CME group and everything. John Hancock owns real estate here.